Welcome to Vintage Bricks. James, your host. We are going to go and do a complete review of over 20 castles of the Lego series from 1978, the Yellow Castle, to the new Lionite's Castle. We have a quick 4-minute overview to start with. Then we'll do a decade by decade review of the main themes and castles. So if you're at all interested in Lego castles and want to just get caught up on what's been happening in the last 45 years, come on in and take a look. So let's enjoy the tour of the castles. The first one, the Yellow Castle from 1978. Then the King's Castle, the 6080, 1984. The Black Falcons Castle, the 6073. It's called the Knight's Castle. Another slightly larger Black Falcons Fortress in 1986, the 6074. 1987, Forestmen theme. This is the River Crossing set. 1988, the Black Monarch's Castle, the 6085. Those barded horses are new. 1990s castle, we start with the 6081, the King's Mountain Fortress. The first Maiden and Ghost raised base plate. The Wolfpack Tower, the 6075 from 1992. Another raised base plate, the Black Knight's Castle, the 6086. The Fire-Breathing Fortress Magisto and the Dragon Knights, and another new theme. 1995, Royal Knight's Castle. The first Crown King with his long sword. Huge castle. Dark Forest Fortress, another Forestmen theme from 1996. The Fright Knights theme, Dark Lord's Castle, 6097. And we'll move on into the 2000s, Y2K. King Leo's Castle, a Knight's Kingdom Castle, 6091. Princess Storm on the left and Cedric the Bull on the right there. The Blacksmith Shop, and not really a castle, but a very detailed set that kind of kicked that detailing off. Now, the Knight's Kingdom 2, 2004, the Castle of Morcia, with the colorful knights. 8877, Vladek's Dark Fortress, another Knight's Kingdom set, 2005. Fantasy Era theme, 2007, the 7094, the King's Castle Siege. And one of the themes they were against were the Trolls. Troll Mountain Fortress, the 7097, the Orcs and the Trolls. Now, the Kingdoms from 2010, the 7946, the King's Castle. The 7404, another King's Castle from 2013. The 3-in-1 Meieval 31120 Meieval Castle. And then finally the Lionite's Castle, the more recent one, the 10305. So let's move on to the more detailed review of the castle sets. Well, I want to start off by saying that these sets were magical for creating dioramas. So as we get into our first review here, kind of think of how you might be able to put these sets or similar sets together. Well, we started off the castle review with the prototype. In 1978, the minifigures were released, and so they had to make a castle that was minifigured sized. No more small little things. Now we have a look at this. We have gates that are large enough for the minifigures. Minifigures, of course, had stickers at this time. And even the knights had horses that were brick built before the regular horses. One of the things that we'll see in all these sets in the 1980s, which I think I'm going to be mentioning, is that they're swing out sets. It's the swing in 80s, baby. This is it. So what a great way to start with the classic yellow castle set $375, or if you're in America, $60.75. It's 1984 and Lego is back, and they now have a new gray set. Yes, it's the Lionite set 6080. They've turned the yellow into gray, another swing out set. And look at these guys. Here we have the knights that have horses, and this is a set that if you're a collector or interested in castles, either you have this set or it's on your want list. Set 6080. The second set in 1984 is the Knight's Castle. And look what we have. Not only do we have knights, but we have a new theme, the Black Falcons. As all these sets in the 1980s, there is no king around. They're probably off in the fighting some war someplace. But this was just a nice little additional theme that they hit big in 1984. Again, it's a spin out one. Take a look at it here. Like many of you, the Black Falcons are a favorite of mine. Set 6073. It's 1986 and Lego has re-released a Black Falcon Castle. What a great choice, Lego, to do that. You know, this one's a little bit bigger than the original, which I have right here. Throw that up here. Here is the original castle from '84. And so they did something pretty cool here. They added a little living section here. Something we'll see in castles going forward right here. So the set 6074, the Black Falcons Fortress. So what happens when castles get abandoned? Well, in 1987, Lego had a solution. In came the Forestmen, who doesn't love the Forestmen? They came in and took over these old castles, call them sets, but they're castles. This is they built this like a castle that was abandoned in the river, Forestman's River Crossing, and again it has a little swing out here. Pretty typical of these sets. Not much inside, these old castles. But now that'll change with time, as we'll see. Set 6077. It's 1998, and Lego is going out the decade in a bang with a whole new thing. Look at the Black Monarch's castle. We have the Black Knights now, and you can see, I've swung it out, how you can add these sets to create a castle wall around your village or your keep. Okay, let's swing this back here, and really, they've had a lot of years making these sets now, so they knew what to do with them. And these had these really, lost his little feather there. He had these bards now are pretty cool. Everybody hang in there. We're heading into the 1990s. What a great era. We had the advent of the raised base plate. We'll see a bunch of those. It's totally new. It changed the castles. And we had something else too. We had, this is like, we had fantastical things starting to happen. Lego was getting very creative. We had ghosts and wizards and witches and even dragons. So let's jump in and start a review. Let's kick it off with a deeper dive and start with the King's Mountain Fortress for 1990. Well, our fortress is a Lionite's fortress, and we're not going to see another huge Lionite fortress for a long time. So enjoy it. Raised base plate. You had to go up the ramp to get in. Here's the ramp. We had, you know, the magical ghost. We had a princess, which is new. So, you know, a lot of innovative things, their thinking's going on here. It's really a cool set. Um, and inside we see something which is hard to see, but there's a trap door, so bad guys will fall down. And all these raised base plate had pits. This is like a storage one here. Some use them as prisons. This has the more traditional prison you'll see in 1990. So our first set, the 6081. It's 1992 and a new theme, the Wolfpack. What a great theme. They got their own flag, their own emblem. I mean, they're doing pretty darn good. I think we all wish that Lego would kind of invigorate the Wolfpack. This is not really a castle per se, but to them it was a castle, right? And they had all sorts of things that swung out. They had a ghost. This is an old structure. I think if a thing had a ghost, it's probably been around for hundreds of years, and they took it over. And then I'll spin it around here, and then they inside the hill here, even the rocks move out of the way. So, good job. Now, these guys snuck around and, robbed things. They were sneaky little thieves, did their thievery. So, set 6075, the Wolfpack Tower. Here it is, 1992, the Black Knight's Castle. This is the classic of classics of the raised base plate. It has everything that you'd want in a castle. It's got the walls, it's got the different sides, it's got the entry. And it has these incredible collectible knights. Beautiful box. Got a living area here. Got a nice little flag there. Hopefully, this is a set that is on your wish list. The Black Knight's Castle, 1992. In 1993, Magisto comes onto the scene with his clan, another raised baseplate set. So we'll love taking a look at this magical theme. 1993, and it's the fire-breathing dragon, and one of my all-time favorite themes. We have Magisto. He's, of course, the wizard, keeping track of it. It's not a classic castle, but doesn't need to be. Magisto takes care of everything. Here's the dragon that breathes out fire. And then it has these little special traps. We'll see more of those in the next few sets. And that's so people like the Wolfpack can, get in and do their mischief here. Even the knights are all decked out with their, capes and everything. It has the stairs, multi-level with these raised base plates. Now you can see how they can go higher and higher with these to get, without creating bricks on the bottom here. And the green dragon, of course, I love the green dragon. That's sort of my emoji, I guess, for my vintage bricks. So set 6082, a great place to start your castle collection because these are fairly reasonably priced for used sets. Well, it's 1995 and it's a 6090, the Royal Knight's Castle. I think it should have been called the King's Castle because we actually have a king now, the Crown King. The king has arrived. So now sets going forward from now are going to have Crown Kings, and we'll be looking at those as we go forward into the next decade of sets. A great set. It had a little bit of everything. This large base plate. This was the granddaddy of castles to this point. Look at this. He's had a great dungeon inside here. Now that we have a king, we need a throne room. We have a throne room here for him. And traps everywhere. So the Royal Knights were living in luxury. So again, another great set for your collection. The 6090, the Royal Knight's Castle. From 1995. The Forestmen have returned. The Dark Forest Forestmen, 10 years later from the original set, but they're upgraded now, which is pretty darn cool. And they have a castle now in the trees, or I guess I'm going to call it a castle, their castle. a little hideout in the trees. And this is really a scene, a playable scene of ambush when you have the Dragon Knight and the Black Knight. They come in, and I'm sure these guys are going to rob them. Now, this is a great example of how the different factions are beginning to interact and be playable within the same set. And this is something I think LEGO purposely started to do, and we'll see that going forward in the future themes all the way up until 2013. So here we have it, the Dark Forest Fortress, set 6079. The 1990s ended with a bang with Bat Lord's Castle. Here's the Bat Lord, Basil the Bat Lord. We're naming the guys again. You got to love that. And I know many of you grew up with this set, and therefore it could be a favorite of yours. And you know, LEGO's doing something interesting with Will of the Witch and this Bat Lord Castle. Of course, this is up in the mountains. It's built in sections, and we'll be seeing that going forward as a strategy to make it easier for the kids to put together. So you put the gate part in, and the back part. Now you have a full castle, and on the inside you have the throne room, and then Will the Witch has to sit up, and I guess Basil does too. And so you can put in the tower section here in real time. This is always tricky. I did it, yeah. So now look at this. This is an amazing pinnacle of a castle. This is just a great buildable set, fun playable set, and it's great to see LEGO keep pumping out these factions that are so creative and imaginative.
The Dark Lord's Castle.
Set 6097 from 1997. It's the year 2000, and we have a new raised baseplate set. It's the 6091 King Leo. He's up here, but I also have him on the horse down here. He has this huge raised baseplate set. There's one more raised baseplate set coming in a couple years with the Castle of Morcia. They were done with the raised baseplate, but they're going all out on this new huge baseplate, going bigger and badder. And this is one of these sets that was really geared, for the children to move things around. We'll see this on the next set too. You can move castle parts all around on it, and it's kind of made purposely that way. The highlight of this set, in a lot of ways, are the minifigures, which are pretty cool. We got King Leo down here. We got Queen Leonora. We got Princess Storm. And then we have bad guys that are named. We'll start seeing bad guys come in everywhere now. We have Cedric the Bull here, and then we know they're the bad guys because this is Gilbert the Bad, and he has this little ram. Pretty soon the bad guys will start getting their own forts. So again, if you collected this growing up, you'll have a lot of emotional love for this set. 6091 King Leo's Castle. A bonus set, the set 3739, the Blacksmith Shop from 2002, which was over 20 years ago. And why is this in my little castle review here of castles? Because they did something so important inside the set. They put detail. The rooms have detail in it, which makes this, a forerunner of today's castles, where they're, all about, we've seen a lot of our castles we've been reviewing here that are pretty bare on the inside, but this one really was way ahead of its time. And so the blacksmith and his wife, great job, you guys, and thanks for adding a lot of detail to the castles to come in the future. Set 3739, Blacksmith Shop. So it's 2004, Knight's Kingdom 2, the Castle of Morcia. We got a king, a crowned king. He has all his pretty colored knights. Sir Danju, Jaco, Santos, Raskus, the four colored knights. And this is an interesting castle because the bad guy, which I think is, Vladek, the bad guy and his forces, can come and take over the castle and turn it red. He can turn it into his what he wants, and he can, or they could take it back again. The knights could take it back again and turn it blue. And you can see I'm knocking things off. This thing, you touch the thing and it tends to fall apart. So it'd be a fun one for the kids to play with. So raised base plate. And one of the reasons why it's a little touchy here is because, you know, the piece, this is one built-in section, so you can move it around. You could take this piece and move it here and there and everywhere. A great little set. 87, 81, the Castle of Morcia. Here we have an evil fortress, the first evil fortress I think I've seen in the castle line. Vladek's Dark Fortress, set 8877. And it's pretty amazing. Here's Vladek. He's the evil. He even has his like skull cap there. And it's not really a castle that folds up. It's a fortress that go against a rock wall. And he's against the knights, the Night Kingdom 2 knights, like Raska, Santis, Danju, Jaco, the gang, the colored guys below. And I don't know if they're going to win because, you know, he has scorpion power and he has all these knights and stuff. Okay, let me spin this around to give you an idea how huge this set is here. Vladek's Dark Forest, set 8877, 2005. And we'll leave the Knight's Kingdom 2 with the fortress in this diorama. Huge battle going on here. On to King's Castle Siege. It's 2007. We have a whole new theme, the fantasy era. This is set 7094, King's Castle Siege. Okay, I'm pausing. I love the fantasy era so much. I think I have all the sets. I put it together in this little diorama here to get the taste of what these might look like with the siege castle right in the middle. I have a YouTube video of this whole thing I'm doing here, but okay, you see how much I love this set. So back to our review. And as I spin it around here, just take it in. This is very much of a classic castle with the walls, a lot of cool little modern touches. The king, of course, has a cape. We have the amazing knights. This is really built for battle. Even the box had this huge battle scene on the inside. Out with alternate builds. In with huge scenes like this of the battle scene. King's Castle Siege from 2007. Okay, we'll end with the 3 sets put together in one huge castle. Just like the sets from the 1980s. You can put these together. Okay, let's move on to another castle set in the fantasy era. The Trolls Mountain Fortress, 7097. One of my all-time favorite fantasy sets in the castle era. Really goes well with this whole theme. So here it is, the Trolls Mountain Forest. I think we just saw the minifigures, and this was a beautiful set. You should have seen it a minute ago. I just dropped this thing, and the pieces went everywhere. Anyway, I got it back together. I only broke one of these brown pieces. These little brown pieces are kind of brittle, as known, so don't drop this set. It may be a mountain fortress, but it still doesn't like being dropped. And, you know, these trolls were... well, the trolls were these huge guys. The orcs are the little guys. The king and the sorceress, they ruled. They kind of ran everything. And I just can't see the castle guys. I can't see them actually taking this fortress. They're pretty secure here. We'll do a little spin around so you can kind of see it. Has a nice prison, one of the nicest prisons with a view. Little crystal, got some spiders here. Got a nice ladder going up here. Really a great set to end this decade. Well, it's 2010, and Lego has a new theme, Kingdoms, and they were audacious enough to name something King's Castle. Well, the original King Castle over here from 1984, it looks a whole lot like the new one in just the build. They went back to the basics here. We got the nice drawbridge, the portcullis here, the thing that goes up and down. You know, got the same, I mean, same color flags, big hint there. Gone to a little bit of the red motif. Now we have a king. You know, in 84 they didn't have a king, but they're all happy to have a king now. They're probably like buddies now, sort of. It's real similar, isn't that interesting how they kind of went back to the basics here and busted out a castle to get started. This really, I think, is jump-starting the new era of Lego castles from 2010 to today that really showcases the beloved traditional castles. This kingdom set is, you know, one of my favorites. It's a fun build, and I think, you know, arguably the king is with his cape. These are some of the best looking, maybe the best looking king of the whole group. I have a whole bunch of other kingdom sets I haven't even, they're still in the boxes. I got to get to those at some time in the future. So here we are, King's Castle, a kingdoms theme from 2010. Oh, before I go, let me say one big difference. This is not a swing out castle. By swing out, the original King's Castle could be swung out and you could make a wall. This one's held together by technique pins, which makes it really sturdy to pick up and move around. But it doesn't have that same way you can build a long wall. So, but still, highly recommend this kingdom set.
It's deja vu time.
2014, and Lego has another King's Castle. 70404. You know, looked like they kind of took the last Kingdoms one, the King's Castle, from a couple years ago, and they switched the colors on it. Look at now the king guys are blue instead of red, and the bad guys, who are the dragon guys, are now the red. So I think, you know, it's a cool castle. One thing that's different is that they put the tower in the back, in the middle, which is, you know, I guess an upgrade. And they put the prison's in the corner. The biggest room in the whole place is the prison. They must have lots of little dragon prisoners they got to put in there. And there's a little catapult. So the cute little flags. So one of the things they did do, they're getting better at their little technique things to move up the drawbridge and move up the portcullis, and we'll see that later on, how they're using their improved techniques. So here we are, 70404, the King's Castle. These are fairly reasonably on to get, you know, if you want to pick up a nice big castle set to get started. So this is a good one too.
Oh no, yikes, crash.
Oh no, when I was getting up, my next one fell on the ground, and I'm going to do some fixing up before I review this one.
All better though, ready for the review.
It's 2019, and Lego busted out a new Black Falcon set. This is the original from 1986, the 6074, and has a little living area. You know, this is earth-shattering back then, and it's like one of these guys had a dream and woke up, and they dreamed of this colorful new castle. They've been doing some remodeling. They remodeled this castle for this castle. That's what it is. This is a remodel. I'm going with that. It swings out like a traditional, you know, 1980s castle, except it has all the modern things. You know, a new castle, It has the detail, has a prison, a detailed living area, armory. You know, it even has, you know, the black Falcon shield and things. This is a great set, I think, to get back into the Lego castle, you know, theme. So I really recommend this. 31120, the Meieval Castle.
Well, hopefully nobody's dropped this next castle. that would be a disaster.
Well, towards the last castle I'm reviewing, the Lionite's Castle. We saved the best for last. This is this huge, amazing castles. As something fun, I'm going to show you this castle in 4 dioramas I did.
Well, the Lionite's Castle worked great in dioramas. Kind of anchors the whole thing. There are so many other sets we could also add to this. Maybe we will in the future. So as we spin around, we'll see the Black Falcons. Look, there they are with their couple of their 6074 sets. And they're, yeah, it looks great. We even have a Black Knight set there, kind of holding the anchor. In our second diorama, we are going to do the yellow castle sets. So it's a community. They built a new castle next to the old one, and certainly having the contrasting colors is pretty striking, especially if you like yellow. And our last one, I really like this one. This is with the Forestmen, and now the main castle is, the Lionite Castle is closed, but the Forestmen, you know, the Sherwood Forest is there, and they're coming into town to trade, and right now they're all kind of peaceful. So there we have it.
Yeah, wasn't that fun? Now, I'll say a couple things about this castle. Over 4,000 pieces. It's for sale on Lego.com now, so you could pick it up if you hadn't got a chance. And I certainly recommend that. So that comes to a conclusion of our review of the castles from 1980 to today. We did it! Thank you for making it to the end of the video. Hey, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and we'll see you again next week.